Welcome back to the unofficial review. I'm Seeds, and this is my football review. Today I'm going to do a quick video on what Russell Wilson said, and there was some speculation, and he was referring to Cam Newton when he's talking about football being a contact sport and playing tennis and what have you. And honestly, there was some back and forth. Somebody said that yes, he was talking about Cam, but he wasn't attacking him. Another guy said no. Russell Wilson's a classy guy. He wouldn't be like that. He's just being general and so forth. So I'm just going to talk my 2 cents in and say, yes, I do think that he was taking a little bit of a comment towards Cam Newton in that, because that was my first instinct. And it's being a Seattle fan and being a Russell Wilson fan, that was one of the things is, yes, totally, he is a class act. And so for me to feel that when I first saw the words and could be like, well, Cam just went out and said this, and so for him to make kind of a, let me say a specific comment about that type of calls and what have you, or no calls, I think he was leaving some room to some of the calls, but like some of the speculation was I do agree too that he was giving advice. I don't think he was necessarily taking a jab at him and essentially attacking his integrity or his personal outlook on the circumstances, but I think he was more or less saying, because one, I mean, Russell Wilson is actually older than Cam Newton, and so that was one of the things is that, and my belief and a lot of other people's belief is that Russell Wilson's a very wise guy, and so his wisdom, like I said, I think he felt like he was just passing it on. He was just kind of saying, hey, this is how I play the mobile quarterback position and so forth, and it protects me and such. And the thing too is that even just to emphasize whether or not these calls are being specifically influenced on Kim, or if it's just collateral damage to how he plays, would be specified. Because if you play safer in these circumstances where when you are running, you're not taking these hits, you're sliding, as Russell Wilson suggests, it would remove the doubt, because you kind of wonder, and it leaves enough, because I do think that there were some calls where, to me, I do think they were keeping Cam Newton in check. That was just kind of my theory. There's definitely some legitimacy to the fact that a lot of the hits he is taking are as a runner and therefore allowed, and so it does kind of wonder, you kind of could give the speculation that the refs aren't necessarily looking at him the same way in general, just because they're so used to watching him take hits as a runner that they're maybe getting passive about his position as a quarterback. So again, this would just more or less, if you play smarter in the other area when you are a running back, if they are out to get you and they're just not going to call them, period, again, this would emphasize the fact, but because you're constantly taking these rough hits that other quarterbacks don't take, but you're taking them legally because you're running as a runner, again, it just kind of brings a little bit of doubt. And so again, it just, to me, Russell Wilson wasn't trying to criticize Cam Newton. He wasn't trying to attack him. Again, I do think Russell Wilson is just a class act guy, and he's just not going to want to make people feel bad. I think he was more or less just kind of giving his perspective. That was the thing too, is he was, I believe he was asked the question. I don't think Russell Wilson went out and said, hey, I want everyone to know this is my opinion on Cam Newton. I think he was more or less probably just asked the question, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna give my 2 cents. This is how I perceive the situation, and he was being honest. I didn't watch all the film. I didn't see Cam take some of these hits, and so I'm not going to say that there's no legitimacy at all. But based on what I see, and this is how the game is, this is what I would do, and this is how I would play it. So again, it was just him more or less just giving his opinion, and again, this is the to me the overreaction is again the people that are going to read more into it. I think it's just one of those things where you can address it, whatever, but put it behind this. I don't think anybody's going to take it too personal. Like I said, they're both professionals, but yeah, it's one of those things where I do think Russell Wilson does have some legitimacy to the argument. And then too, I also think, again, like I said with Cam Newton, I do think there's some legitimacy to, especially the tackles around the lower part of your legs, where he's clearly in the pocket. He's clearly a passer. Why is he not getting this call? And it's kind of this where people are like, oh, he can take it. And it has nothing to do with whether or not he can take it. Again, like I said, with rule changes and so forth, is if you want to be fair and if you want to have it a sport of integrity, you need to implement the rules consistently. And not just be like, oh, this guy has, again, an advantage in a certain area, so we're going to let it even out with not calling these other plays. Again, I do think there is some consistency with that. But again, I think that Cam Newton playing smarter when he's a runner would give that much more validity to when he is not getting protected by calls that should be called. But anyhow, this is Seeds on the Unofficial Review signing off.